Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. This is Austin Linney here. And I hope you're ready because you're joining court. We got the justice in the house. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So what I like to do with my guest is I like for them to kind of share their story where they want to, and we'll kind of go from there.
Share my story. Wow. It's a long story.
I know, but don't do the thing that everybody does and talk for 45 minutes. Can you condense it a little bit?
Condense it a little bit. Okay. It was
I think I had one guest come back. He started at 2 years old. I was like, bro, I'm good. Can we speed it up just a little bit?
I was a high school athlete. I played hockey, loved hockey, never intended to continue on to the next level. Nobody talked to me about what would happen when I stopped playing my sport. Nutrition wasn't something that was talked about. Working out properly for your body wasn't something that was talked about. So I hit the age of 19 and I started gaining weight. And for the next, we'll say 7-8 years, it was just a roller coaster of ups and downs with dieting. I think I gained and lost the same 15 pounds probably 20 times. And then I had my daughter. And then my husband talked me into trying CrossFit. He played the "I really want us to do this together" card. So for me, what was I supposed to do with that? So for me, that's where my actual real journey started. So for me, the fitness aspect of it started with CrossFit, but the nutrition aspect wasn't there yet. I still wasn't happy and healthy, which is what I help create for people. Happy, healthy, because you can be both. And you not should, but negation acknowledged there.
Well,
but you should be both.
Well, yeah, you should, you will, all those things. Nutrition is such an interesting topic. Right. And the reason is that nobody knows what to do. Eggs are good. Eggs are bad. Bacon's good. Bacon's bad. Don't drink this milk. Drink that milk. Explain to me, because this is what you do for a living, how these things can change all the time. There's no reason it can't. Right. Or it should. I don't even know. It doesn't even. I'm so at this point, when I lost weight, I just ate the same thing every day for 3 years because I was just tired of worrying about what I was doing.
That's awesome. I'm a habitual eater. So it's easy for me to eat the same things all the time. But for me, I don't even focus the same way a lot of nutrition coaches are focusing. Most people go with that calorie counting macro approach, make sure you're getting enough protein. For me, and I agree, there is so much bullshit out there. To me, if they're making money off of you, it's probably not legit. When was the last time you saw a commercial for broccoli?
I haven't.
Never. Right? It's so for me, when I work with people, I have my 6 pillars of what it takes to be healthy. And they are the basis of their basic habits, but they're all overlooked because, I have a big problem. So the solution must be huge as well. Well, no.
Hey, I want to hear it. What are the 6? I want to hear it.
So it's, are you eating enough fruits and vegetables?
Okay.
The answer is no. Every time. Are you drinking enough water? I know you are. As he lifts up his giant water bottle. Are you drinking enough water? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you moving your body in some way? I don't care what it is. I do CrossFit. I love to pick heavy shit up and put it back down. But do you want to do yoga? You want to go for hikes? I don't care what it is. Just move your body because it's good for you. Where's your mindset at? What's your language like? Towards yourself, the world around you, the people around you.
Well, hold on now. Hold on. And nowhere in that did you talk about macros, if you should be a vegan, what's the latest fucking paleo diet, should you do CrossFit, should you do yoga? You said drink water, eat more fruits and vegetables, talk to yourself right. Like, why isn't the CDC, why aren't the people pushing this agenda? Like, this sounds pretty great to me. Like, I can get behind this.
Because the CDC doesn't actually give a shit whether you're healthy or not. They make more money off you being unhealthy.
So it's been weird for me, right? And this is like where I get uber aggressive with certain things. Like certain points I'm coaching a health insurance company. 2 buddies, I coach the entire company. They're trying to change the way health insurance is done for many different reasons. And part of their initiative, now that actually, yeah, that needs to happen. That's for another idea later. But people have no idea. They told me the stat that more Americans are on 2 prescription pills than 0. And when I heard that, I was like, what? And so I had the same situation. I wasn't feeling great. I was way overweight. I was still drinking at the time. And I hadn't been to a doctor in 15 years. And I finally go to this doctor. I'm there for 30 minutes in the waiting room. He shuffles me inside. He asks me 5 questions, hands me medication, and then sends me on my way. I take my mom's a nurse. I take the medication. I can't think. I can't like even barely move. And come to find out that was like antidepressant medication. And I never felt like normal. And she was like, why are you taking that shit? And I threw the pills in the trash and then I proceeded to get healthy the right way. But like that, I would imagine happens 9 times out of 10, if not more.
I have a client who, well, she's not my client anymore because part of what I do is I give people the tools and the skill set that they need so they can go and live their fucking life. I don't want to work with you forever. I want you to be happy and healthy. And that's something that you can create on your own. So you can take what you need and you can move on with your life. So this client worked with me for 6 months and she lost 30 pounds in 3 months. She was very overweight, but 30 pounds in 3 months by changing her sleep and eating more fruits and vegetables. Those are the only 2 things we worked on in those 3 months.
Come on. Seriously?
Honest to God. She's now off of her insulin as a type 2 diabetic. She has cut one of her big medications in half. And come summertime, she'll be there's a very good chance she'll be medication free.
I got so many stories like that too. So look, you and I both know, you run your own business too. You and I both know that I would say 70% of the time, I'm trying to shoot conservatively, that entrepreneurs say, you know what, I'll take care of my health, you know, when I make my first million or this, you know, they're making money, but they're unhealthy. They feel like shit. And I have a theory and I will remove theory. I have a belief now. Okay. We'll remove theory that I don't think people are actually assholes. I think they feel like shit. And they let that dictate their emotions. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. I remember I am the healthiest I've ever been in my entire life right now. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire life right now. And it's a beautiful thing. And when I think about the anger and frustration that I used to feel, not that I don't feel those things anymore, but I'm able to control them and understand where they're coming from. I'm not an unhappy person, but there's a lot to do with becoming healthy on the inside. Like, when was the last time a psychologist recommended for somebody who's struggling with mental health, anxiety, depression? I've struggled with anxiety my whole life. When was the last time they were like, what's your diet like? Are you living off of foods that are giving you that constant high and low of dopamine hit because I've had a bunch of sugar followed by crash, followed by dopamine hit, crash, dopamine hit, crash? Like, are you eating the foods that your body needs to thrive, not just survive? No, they're not asking that.
Want to know one of the places that scares me the most that we see this, and it's the reason that we started a group helping addicts. You know, you go to this is not like I'm making an opinion. This is like real research. You go to like a 12-step program. You go to this thing, and they're serving like fried chicken and fucking mac and cheese and shit while these people are trying to get sober.
Well, because we're trading one fix for another. We're trading one dopamine hit with a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction for another addiction that is food, right? It's like we all have coping mechanisms. Have we created our own happiness? There's a difference between having happiness and creating happiness. I've created the happiness that I have for myself.
Okay, well, unpack that one for me.
Unpack it? Okay,
yeah.
So it is definitely a feeling. So for me right now, the happiness that I have created for myself through the habits that I have formed for myself that align with who it is that I want to be, the goals that I have for myself it took time to get here. And going off and like a squirrel, and like my mind's going in different directions right now. But for me, I created this happiness for myself. So even when I'm having, like, I had a really shitty week about a month ago, like a really shitty week. I lost 2 people in our life, and my husband got in a car accident. So it was just like, I was walking down the hallway and I was crying for the loss of a 2-year-old boy. But when I thought about it at my core, I was still very happy. So I'm able to recognize that I'm okay with being sad. I'm okay with being angry and frustrated and feeling all these other big, powerful emotions, but recognizing at my core that I'm still very happy. My life is very good. Whereas when you're just happy, it relies on outside factors. Your happiness is reliant on somebody else. It's not just something that you have.
It's very odd, right? Okay, and I always love to pick on myself because it's easy, just to like be open and let people think. When I got divorced, like I was really healthy. Like I was working out twice a day. I was eating right. I wasn't drinking. But before I got divorced, like I had this belly, like this big belly, and I couldn't, like everything I tried. I was biking fucking 80 miles a week, like everything. And my buddy, who's like a shaman, and he was like, I was at visiting him in LA, and he's like, yeah, you won't leave it until you get divorced. You won't like lose your belly. And I was like, what? And he's like, it's toxic anger. Like you're not happy. And what do you know? The moment I got separated, belly started going away. So ask yourself, how much of that, the knee that feels bad, the headache you have, is a trapped emotion? Like, if you haven't unpacked the emotion code, have you read the book?
I haven't, no.
Oh my God. You won't put it down. It talks about you can carry generational trauma.
Oh, 100%.
And then you can have trauma in your body at 40 years old from a birth. Like it was a strenuous birth. Like, I mean, dude, you'll blow when you start looking into that stuff. It's crazy.
Everything about what I do with people is typically generational. It comes from generational. People think, well, sorry, husband, but I'll use my father-in-law as an example. He's one of 8 boys, and they all have high cholesterol. They've all been on medication for it, right? So he's on medication for it. Well, it's genetic. No, it's not. There are very few diseases that are actually genetic. You may be predisposed to it because of your genetic makeup. And I'm not going to get all sciencey because it's not really my area, but it's not. It's the way that we eat that's genetic. Your grandfather ate a certain way, in which case your father ate a certain way, in which case you eat a certain way.
Well, here's what's crazy. And my fiance who's sitting over here, I don't know if she's listening or not, but basically her favorite thing is she thinks that like this is the way that we've always done it, or this is the culture thing, is the biggest horse shit that exists in the world because, oh, well, I'm Greek and I have to do things this way and we have to have Thanksgiving and we have to. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
We got engaged. The first thing everybody asks us, when you get married? We're not. We're going to go do it at the courthouse. We don't care. Well, I mean, I know, but no, it's not genetic. You don't. One of the greatest, there's 2 films I watched. One was called Fast, which was, they did a study where all these people fast. And this woman had a headache she couldn't get rid of forever. She fasted for 40 days at a time. And after 2 times of doing that, the headache went away. She never had it again, ever. Migraines. And then the other one was where this guy created a thing in Portugal where these people did nothing but a juice diet and worked out, like walked for like 40 days. And there was a guy that was on 60 different medications a day. And he went down 2. Well, you know what he said the whole time leading up to it? Well, I know this is in my family. This is the thing. It's not.
But it's generational because your grandfather told your father, who then told you, but you're hearing it from 2 people before you. So what else do you have to believe? You're a child. Of course, you're going to believe what is given to you, right? So it's, unless you question it, and that's the biggest thing. We've lost our ability to question things, especially when it comes to our health. Well, no, they're saying that this is right. Does that make sense to you? Tell me, does it make sense to you that you're on a diet that's telling you to not eat fruit, not eat vegetables, and to eat butter and bacon? Like saturated fat that clogs our arteries and causes high cholesterol and heart disease? Not that bacon and butter are bad for you, but in the amount that people are eating them and then not having any sort of fiber intake, it's like you're not giving your body what you need. It's like, use your common sense, question it.
So we're building the perfect entrepreneur. Okay. I'm coaching them with the mindset stuff and the business strategy. They're starting. Okay. We got a 23-year-old specimen, fresh out of college, going to build his business. How do you create a system for health and nutrition and everything that's going to last the ages? Walk me through, like, how would you go about like looking at something, right? Because everybody wants the short-term fix. And I'm confirmed that it's a lifestyle. Once you start, it's something that's never going to stop.
It's not, well, and it's funny because my business is called BNA Lifestyle. Okay. And it is because you have to accept it as you are changing your life, but it's deeper than that. You're changing who you are as a person. You're changing a belief system, right? You're questioning things. You are creating new habits for yourself. You are recreating yourself, which is the hardest part of the journey, is changing what you believe to be true. The parts of you that you believe are who you are. Well, I'm fat. That's who I am. Like, I've come to terms with it. I've tried everything. It's like, and no one's ever changed. Right. So for me, I don't care where you come from when you come to work with me. The foundations are a non-negotiable. You have to go through them. You have to, because you could be 23 years old. And let's say you are someone who works out. Chances are you are genetically gifted still at that point at 23, right? You can eat McDonald's every day. Does that mean you're healthy? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Right. So for me, it's the foundations, fruits and vegetables, sleep. Oh, sleep is the one that I get the most throwback on. Drinking enough water. There are lots of people who drink enough water, and then there doesn't seem to be a middle ground. It's either they drink enough water or they don't drink any water. Mm-hmm. They're like, I might have a glass of water a day, like, which hurts my head. But the mindset, the language, is all like, it all has to be in line. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. When you master something, it doesn't mean that you're perfection all the time. It just means that it has become a habit for you. Do sometimes we like miss a habit? Like, let's say your habit is you wake up in the morning and you turn your coffee maker on. You want to bet there's going to be a random morning where you forget to turn the coffee maker on, right? So it's building those good, solid habits that become a part of who you are, right? So it is a journey. And for me, when I deal a lot with emotional eaters, because to me, you don't get overweight without having emotional attachments to food. It's just, they go hand in hand. They're like, I'm not an emotional eater. I'm like, And yet here you are at almost 300 pounds. You are an emotional eater. You're just not seeing that you celebrate with food because you're happy and everything is good as emotional eating, which it is. But for me, I talk about expansion and retraction. So we're growing. Where people see they self-sabotage or fall off the wagon, I see retraction, which is normal in growth, that expansion, retraction. And the retraction is you're going back into your comfort zone when you have gone into a moment of stress, because your brain is trying to, that reticular activating system. I know you know what I'm talking about, but your brain is trying to make everything as easy as it possibly can for you. So it's taking you back into that comfort zone, in which case you fall back into past patterns where you're eating the things that bring you comfort. Because what's one of the easiest things for your brain not to think about? Food in mouth. That's pretty.
Well, I tell you what's crazy. And I think it's taught me more about myself than anything. It's really wild because you want to see how you talk to yourself fast. And you get past that point, and what you realize, right? I've done 3 days, I've done, whatever. But if you breathe and you just sit with it for a minute and you don't react to it, it'll pass. And then when you go like 2 days, then the mind starts like messing with you. And then you get through that and you're like, dude, I feel amazing. And it's this, my favorite thing I've ever heard on a podcast was like, he's like, you know how you fix a bad stomach? He goes, you don't put shit in it. He's like, let it actually do its thing. It's like having a fever, which a fever means that you are breaking through the sickness, but instead we reach for the medicine instead of letting the body. You know what it is? We don't trust ourselves anymore. We don't trust our bodies anymore to do what it's meant to do.
So we're also unable to be uncomfortable.
Correct. Yeah. You know what the actual drug that exists that's fucking up everybody? It's fucking comfort. It's not alcohol. It's not drugs. It's fucking comfort. You got your Netflix, you got your bullshit, and you're fucking comfortable. And guess what? You be around me, you ain't gonna be comfortable anymore because I'm gonna fuck your shit up. And so the thing is like, is that really it? Like, this is what I don't get. And I coach business people, so this is different. Is the goal 1 million? Like, really? Is the goal 1 million? So you're telling me that the moment that you hit it, if I handed you $1 million tomorrow, you're done? Like, your life's over. Come on. Do better. And it's the same thing in health, right? You're telling me if I had 8% body fat and I get the abs, I'm done? Like at 32, I'm done for the rest of my... No. It's forever.
It's also not that thing that's going to make you happy. That $1 million is not going to make you happy and feel content. You're just going to want more because there's a reason why you want that. Just like you say, oh, I want to weigh 135 pounds. It's like, why though? Well, I'll just feel better. Will you though? Or will that not be good enough for you because the 135 pounds is something that you're chasing that doesn't really mean anything? There's something happening in here. There's something happening in here. I always thought that I wanted to reach a certain weight. I didn't even get to it. And I was like, I looked at myself, I'm like, I'm good.
Well,
and up here, I was like, I'm good.
What's interesting with the Enlifted community is I'm watching all, and you especially too, I'm watching all the trainers and nutrition people, like, they're not even training anymore. They're fixing the mind. And then the training happens. And I love it. I feel like we've made a shift. Not everybody, but I feel like, especially in our community, I feel like we've made a shift in the health and wellness part and saying, no, we got to fix your language first. We got to get your mind right. And then we can go attack the program.
It's funny because I was doing the mindset part of it before, because I counted calories and macros, and I created a massive disordered eating pattern for myself to the point where like I had to stop doing it because it was fucking with my head. Did I get results? Absolutely, I did. But then I screwed up another part of me. So and then I created a bad relationship with food, which is not something that I want. So for me, I knew there had to be something more. So I've always been searching for something outside of the food. To me, it's great that I have the nutrition because I have the understanding of how everything works. And same thing with my personal training, like working out. But like that is so far advanced to me. People are like, oh, I want to lose weight. Like, here, let's give you some macros. It's like, how's your relationship with yourself and food? Like, let's work on those first. Like, do you eat some fruit and vegetables every day? Probably not.
What is somebody's stuck, they're overweight, they're me, 80 pounds overweight, they're unhappy. Where do you start?
Well, again, with the foundations, but it's a lot of questions. It's a lot of questions. Where are you at? Why do you believe you are overweight? Well, because I eat too much. That's not deep enough. Why do you eat too much? One of my coaches taught me this, and it's always ask one more why than feels comfortable.
I'm feeling that.
Yeah. Like, why? But why?
So really, as a coach, it's upon us and what we do to ask the question that you. Here's when I know coaching's working. When I'm getting angry that you're asking questions. That's my new metric. Because this guy was coaching me the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna fuck this guy up. And then after I removed myself from it, I was like, good job, dude. You know?
That's funny. Yeah. But it's like, when people come to me, they're overweight, they've tried everything. And I hear this a lot. I know what I should be doing, I'm just not doing it. And for me, it's at our core as human beings, we know what we need to do to be healthy. We've lost sight of all of that stuff. We've lost the balance, our ability to know when we are actually hungry, when we're actually full. Like, we're not in tune with ourselves anymore. We've drawn away from that because we're numbing ourselves with all of this outside stuff, right? Social media, Netflix, all of this, getting lost. We don't know who we are anymore. I lost my train of thought. That's special.
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's that thing where we're stuck in. We're saying, well, this is good enough, so I'm not doing anything. But Atomic Habits is great.
It's an amazing book.
It's an amazing book. I read it 4 times. But there's a book that came before that called Slight Edge. And it's an amazing book. And he said, listen, the problem with daily little habits is they're so easy to do. They're just as easy not to do. Mm-hmm. And so when you eat that burger or skip the gym, you're saying I skipped the gym, I ate the burger. And over time, it's not a big deal. But accumulated, that's the difference between this and this. But more importantly, it's what you're not taking into account is you're eroding your inner confidence.
I think when it comes to that comfort zone, for me, I always like to throw this mind fuck at people. It's like, you are currently unhappy and uncomfortable in your comfort zone. You're in your comfort zone. No great change has ever happened by staying inside your comfort zone, right? But you're comfortable in your discomfort in your comfort, right? But you don't want to feel this way anymore. But in order to feel this way, you are going to have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. So do you get uncomfortable to become comfortable, or do you stay uncomfortable in your comfort?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, we have an opportunity, right? Like, I have understood that in order for me to be what I have to be, that for the businesses, for my family, for my friends, for my partners, for my employees, for my clients, for my podcast guests, I'm like a car. And I have to have oil in it. I have to be full of gas. I have to be all these things. And so, like, I take that so seriously now that that's me pouring into myself so I can show up for you, when most of my life it was, let me show up for you. And then if I get it something, it's cool, but it's not a big deal. And I think that for me alone has been the biggest shift for me.
Well, and that's the typical client that I work with. I work with what society has considers broken. These women constantly could like tell themselves that they're broken. That's the language that they use. Can I ever be fixed? It's like, you are not broken and you don't need fixing. You need healing. You need to heal yourself. And they've spent so much time putting themselves on the back burner, which, I mean, there is that whole story, that there is a story back there that comes from childhood, a parent that didn't pay attention, right? So they're so desperate to not be their parent that they've just become this new fucked up version of their parent, right? As opposed to completely ignoring their child, they basically live up their child's ass, right? Or they've caused themselves so much stress trying not to be their parent that like they're riddled with anxiety, but they're putting themselves on the back burner and to take care of other people. And I would say it's a theory, but I know it's true. They're putting themselves on the back burner and helping other people with their problems because dealing with their own problems is just too much for them. They do not want to be uncomfortable. That discomfort and the time it's going to take to deal with it is exhausting. But you are not, and I know this firsthand, you are not bringing your full self to the people that are around you and in your life and the people that you love if you are not taking care of yourself first. And that doesn't mean going on trips without your family and screwing off and doing whatever you want. It means, are you happy and healthy? Are you taking care of you? If you tell me that you haven't taken a shower this week because your baby's been crying, it's like, put that baby in a fucking carrier, put it in the bathroom and get in the shower. Like, don't know. Like, yes, I understand you're tired, but now you're using it as an excuse. You're giving yourself an out because it's too fucking hard.
And the scary thing is, I feel like that's a real story. So I'm just going to leave that at that. Sounds like that came from real life. And
it was me.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Like, yeah. So message taken, noted, love it. So if people want to find out about you, they want to follow your journey, they want to know what you got going on, how would they do that?
I am on Facebook, BNA Lifestyle. They can follow me on Facebook, Justine Arsenault. I do have a private group that people can join where we talk more in depth about things and have more open conversations. And that is called the Mindful Nutrition and Fitness Community.
Guys, if you got some value from this episode, you enjoyed it, send it to a friend, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.